Hey, Vet Rehabbers, thank you so much for joining me. And it's awesome, Eric. Thank you for joining me again. It's been a long time since we've been on a Facebook Live.
It has. It's been what, over a year now?
Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy because I know that right now that's pretty much all you're doing is online. So it's crazy we haven't hooked up earlier.
I know, but I'm happy that we're able to stay connected online until we can see each other again in person. So it definitely works.
So for the listeners out there, thanks guys for joining us. If you're listening to this recording, please, if you have any questions, just pop them in the comments. I'll do my best to either get the answers from Eric or answer them myself if I'm able to. For those of you that don't know about Eric, I'm going to do a short introduction and I'm going to let him finish off if I've forgotten anything. He's got quite a list of achievements. You were VMX Speaker of the Year. Was that last year or the year before?
It was, with everything going on, I forget what year we're in. It was in 2020 before everything happened.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And he's basically an internationally recognized digital strategist. And social media is his thing. I have been to many lectures of his and learned so much. So I'm really excited about what he's going to be able to teach you guys. And the great thing about it is, I follow lots of people in social media. But Eric, you are mainly focused on veterinarians. And so it's really in our field, although our field is a little bit more niche than the vets, it's very similar, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think the fundamentals of what engages a user online and more specifically a pet owner online, right? Especially with rehabbers, you focusing on pet owners, veterinarians also focusing on pet owners. The fundamentals of what we know engages that audience is the same. Now, the stories might be different, but absolutely really understanding who our audience is and making sure that we deliver content in a place that they're at.
Yeah. So we're going to be chatting today about social media updates. We're going to do an update since we last spoke. And, one of the things we really struggle with is that we have such a small amount of time in the day to be able to do marketing. And there's so many different things that we can do. And, we might invest quite a lot of time in social media. And there's so many different platforms. And, I feel like sort of every single few months, something new comes. I mean, now we've got Clubhouse, right? And just recently now TikTok, which has been around for quite a while. And I think that the last time we spoke, we sort of briefly mentioned it. And so, yeah, we're going to touch on all of those things. But I think the main thing for us is that we really want to know what we're doing is actually moving the needle in our practice and we're actually getting the results that we want. Because you can spend endless amounts of time on social media and not actually make any difference to your practice, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely true, and that's, I think, the problem that really any business doesn't matter what profession you're in. I think the biggest mistake that we make is that we try to be everywhere because we often hear so many different social media channels that we feel like, oh my gosh, now we have to be here, we have to be here, we have to do this, we have to do that. And the average small business doesn't have time to be everywhere. And so it's really important to make sure that where we are spending time is where our clients are at and that we're delivering a message that actually does something for our business. So, is it driving a conversation around a rehab and awareness and education and what it could do for a pet, or really whatever conversation we're trying to drive? Are we driving those conversations? And then are those conversations then turning into leads? Are they calling us? Are they sending us messages on WhatsApp or through our website or anywhere else? And really, at the end of the day, that's what's important, is making sure that we really focus on delivering a fine-tuned message to our audiences that gets them to engage.
Yeah, because it's not just about how many people like our posts, right? We actually want that engagement. We want leads. We want people saying, wow, I've got a dog with that same condition. Could you help my dog? Those are the results that we're wanting. So how many likes, even reach, what the reach is, and often, we'll get so fixated on the likes and the reach and think like, oh, wow, that posted so well, but did it actually really do well? Did it actually achieve the goal of why we actually posted it?
Well, and that I just makes my heart happy that you said that, because you're right. We often focus on the wrong key performance indicator. It's never, a like is never indicative of success. Reach isn't always indicative of success. And here's the reason. It could go either way. So you could have a post that has little reach, but you've reached the right people that ends up turning into a qualified lead, right? Or it can have a lot of reach and end up doing nothing for you because it reached more than the audience that you're trying to serve. So, more than people that are locally that might end up calling you and generating business. And so it's never truly the only measure of success. And this is why, just as you just said, is we need to really try to track, well, since we've had these conversations on social media over this time period, have we gotten more qualified leads? Are we getting more messages from people that are interested? And also, are we increasing compliance? I know that's something with rehab. When we start it, we want to make sure that pet owner goes through that entire course. So this way they can ensure that the pet goes through the full treatment to make sure that they recover as well as you want them to. And so compliance is key. And so are we delivering a message that drives compliance, that gets pet owners to say, I know I started this rehab and I feel like my dog is doing well and my pet's doing well. Do I even need to continue this? Well, have you delivered content that talks about the importance of continuing to come in? And so, are we measuring then the compliance of those pet owners who start treatment and see the treatment all the way through? So you're right. It's a lot more than just reach and likes, for sure.
Love it. Thanks, guys, for all the people that are joining us live now. If you guys have any comments or if you have any questions for Eric, now's the time, guys. Post them. I'm going to be having a check of the comments, and I'm going to be asking questions as we go. I've got a whole list of questions myself. So let's start off with Clubhouse. So that's one, it's a new thing. I must say, I've had a look at it. I haven't really gone too much into it. Is it something that us vet rehabbers or people in the veterinary field should be using? Are people using it successfully? What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so just to kind of inform everyone what Clubhouse is. So Clubhouse is an audio-based social media network. So if we think about Facebook's all about sharing articles. It's about sharing pictures. It's about sharing videos. It's about commenting on conversations that may have happened in the past. Whereas Clubhouse is different in the sense that it is audio only, and it's often live audio. So it's basically what people do is you create a room, a club, if you will. So for example, you could create a club on rehabbers in South Africa. And you could target veterinary rehabbers in South Africa to join a conversation that you have audio based. So you can either dial in from your phone or however you want to. And then you just have a conversation, just like you used to have a conversation with your friends on multiple way over the phone. It's very much like this, except you can have multiple people in a room. Again, there's no video here. You can mute everyone, so you're the only one talking. Maybe you have a guest that's talking, but you can take questions from people that are joining the live audio-based chat. So there are different ways that you could use this. One is, Megan, you could use it to connect with other vet rehabbers and provide, live content. Maybe that's not a webinar. Maybe that's in a way that's easier for people to just open up the Clubhouse app and listen to the audio of a conversation that you're having. It could be for rehabbers to create clubs for pet owners. So maybe you want to create a club for pet owners to talk about the importance of rehab and the benefit that it can have for pets and what type of pets qualify for rehab as well. So you could really have conversations where you as a veterinarian, as an expert in rehab, are educating our pet owners. And then if you want, allowing them to ask questions about that as well. Just a few things, though, to note about Clubhouse right now is Clubhouse is currently invite only. So in order to even be a part of Clubhouse, you have to be invited by someone who is a user. I'm sure that they'll eventually change that. But as of right now, it is invite only. The reason they've gotten pretty famous is because there have been a lot of very famous people who have had clubs in Clubhouse. So Oprah had a club on Clubhouse as well. So people could just log in and listen to Oprah talk about something, or another famous person. A lot of celebrities, movie people, a lot of social media experts, like even Mark Zuckerberg had a Clubhouse as well. And so you can very easily subscribe to these. The only thing I'll mention about this is that right now the numbers are still pretty low in terms of utilization. So meaning that you might create a club and you might only have, less than 10 people that join it. But it's certainly something that you can look into and explore, and market it on your existing social media. So of course, having a presence on Facebook, having a presence on Instagram is how you're going to promote your Clubhouse there. But certainly it's something that you could consider taking advantage of now, but I don't expect that you would have wild success with it just yet. But it's certainly something that you can kind of dabble into.
So one of the things about it is there's no recordings, right? You're either there live, so it's like that time, you got to be on at that time. You can schedule it, so people that are in your club or like in your community will know when you're going live. But that's, if I think about a podcast, for example, a podcast, you can record it, you can be there, you could do it live if you wanted to, but then at least people could listen to it afterwards and benefit from it afterwards. And so for me, that's a little bit of is that time actually worth it? Like, are the right people going to be on there? I do see maybe some benefit in getting into other people's clubs. So try to get into other people's audiences and get known in a specific topic. If you could go on and start asking questions and then offering value, they might then bring you on, right, as to be one of the speakers, or I think they call it like the hot seat or something like that. Yeah. So I see that benefit, but for us, I feel like it's quite a lot of time invested, and you got to play around and see whether it's working for you or not.
Yeah, and there are some third-party apps that you can use to record it. So you're right, it's not built in to Clubhouse, but there are some third-party apps that you can use. And so when you just mentioned podcast, if you wanted to have the benefit of doing a live Clubhouse, but then use that recording as a podcast, you could. And so that's definitely one thing you could do. But exactly what you just said is, if you're not going to do that and you're not going to repurpose the content, is it then going to be worth 30 minutes to an hour of your time to have that live, and then the preparation that goes into it beforehand for having a small audience? But I love that you talked about joining other people's clubhouses and having an opportunity to network, because you're so right. That's another just awesome idea is being able to use it to network.
And learn from other people. I'm sure there's loads that you can learn. You just got to have the time, which we limited on.
You don't have a lot of time, Megan?
So we watch the space on Clubhouse for the moment. Let's chat about TikTok, because the last time we chatted, TikTok was something that was quite new. And I must say, it's still something that I haven't got into. I've gone and had a look. I feel like it's a little bit sometimes of a waste of time, because you have to sift through so much sort of funny things, and maybe that's the appeal to some people, but for me, I'm there and I want to learn stuff, so the funnies are funny for like one or two, and then so what's happening with TikTok, and how can we use TikTok? Is it something we should be doing, or is it sort of something that's sort of still growing and we just keeping an eye on it?
So I always I always laugh when it comes to TikTok, because if you ask the average person what TikTok is good for, it's for laughing. There's laughing, and then sometimes to see some pretty oddball recipes that someone creates in some sort of like air fryer or something. But TikTok numbers have grown. One of the indicators of whether we should be on a certain social media platform is if the numbers support it. And then, do we have time to be able to deliver a message on that platform that isn't necessarily exclusive to that platform? And so, TikTok for me hits one of those buckets, meaning that it's at 289 million active users globally, which is a lot. It's pretty rapidly approaching 1 billion, which is where Instagram's at. Facebook's at 2 billion. The only problem right now that I'm having with TikTok is really finding a practical way for veterinarians or rehabbers or, many small businesses to be able to deliver content in a way that TikTok is meant for. So I'll kind of give you a non-TikTok example. You can create an educational video or share a story for Facebook that then you can use on Instagram, that then you can put on your website, that then you can put on an email marketing campaign. And so the longevity of creating that piece of content and expanding the reach goes really far. But you couldn't easily take that story and just apply it to TikTok because, TikTok is very short video. It often has some sort of music overlay or some creative editing that takes time. And then in most cases, what makes most TikToks of value and where people engage is some sort of humor element to it. And so, could it be used for the average small business, for the average small rehabber, for the average small veterinary practice? If you had staff that you could dedicate time to do that, sure, it could be useful. The only other issue with TikTok is that the conversation is rarely localized, meaning that if you do get a post that has, a few hundred likes or thousands of likes, well, what is that going to do for you when your audience is located there centrally, but these are people all over the world that are seeing it? So yeah, it's great. You can be known, in South Africa, but have a Florida-based business and it not really do anything for you, unless, of course, you're building a personal brand, and then in which case that might work. I have a veterinarian friend of mine who is on TikTok. He has close to 2 million likes. He has almost 300,000 followers, but that's good for him because he's building a personal brand. So if that's what you want, then absolutely go for it. But if you're not looking to build a personal brand and you're looking to educate just your pet owners in your community, probably not the best thing. But it is nice to see there are a lot of veterinary professionals on there that are having fun ways at educating our pet owners, which I think is awesome. But when we think to the small local business, unless you actually have the support staff to be able to creatively create, direct, edit those videos, and then post them, it's probably not going to be something that is very much in reach for the average business.
Yeah, I mean, especially if your goal is getting clients.
Yeah.
From TikTok, is it worth it? Probably not. And I think also, most of us don't have time to learn how to edit and do that. I mean, it takes forever to edit videos.
Oh, for sure.
Ask Anae. Anae does all our editing. And, especially when we have to do all different shapes and sizes and landscape and square. It's just like, I don't want to edit another one. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then have to add music into all of it. You're right. You're so right.
Yeah. No, exactly. All right. So that's TikTok. Let's chat about Instagram. Instagram is, I think, one of the platforms where a lot of vet rehabbers are on. So the two main ones I see them on are Facebook and Instagram. Any new updates, anything new? I know that since we've chatted, Reels is coming. Maybe you can just update us on that and anything else new that we should know about Instagram.
Yeah, so Reels are coming. So for people that are curious as to what really Reels is meant at taking advantage of, and it's not even just Reels. There's also something called Spotlight that's coming out. Both of these are really just short form video. A lot of it, believe it or not, is actually aimed to capture some of the TikTok audiences. So again, it's short form video that's meant to entertain, that usually has some sort of entertainment component to it, or just very short form education. So it's really Instagram's approach at trying to keep up with TikTok. And that's what, Instagram's notorious for that. When there's another social media channel that's doing something that is successful, if they can't buy them, then they will just duplicate the features. And so that's really Instagram's attempt at doing that. Now, Reels can be used to create quick little short educational videos for our pet owners. So if you wanted to create a reel to show pet owners just how well pets tolerate rehab, or to just quickly educate them on something, you could do that. And you could duplicate that content into other social media channels. The other thing that TikTok is looking at, and this is something that I would advise a lot of people to keep a close eye on, is they're looking from turning video from horizontal to vertical. So they're changing the way that those videos are shown on Instagram. So you don't want to get caught without knowing what that is. So they're testing it right now in certain countries. It's not been rolled out across the platform yet, but keep an eye out for any change in formatting of those videos. The other thing that I do tell businesses to look at is, if you're not yet on Instagram, what you want to do is go to Instagram, and there's a little magnifying glass where you can search for anything. I do want you to search for your business. A lot of people don't realize that there has been what's called a geo listing on Instagram that's been automatically created for you. So what happens is Instagram has this global list of businesses based off of, public information. And what they do is they create these geo listings that then people can tag or check into. And so a lot of small businesses don't realize that even though they haven't officially set up a presence on Instagram for their business, there's already a presence there for them, and there are already pet owners talking. So I always tell businesses, go on Instagram, click on the magnifying glass, search for your business. If you see your business come up, then that's how you know that you had a presence that was created for you automatically. And then what you do with that, of course, is you should create an official presence, so that way you can start to engage with those people. So other than those two big things, really Instagram working on trying to compete with TikTok, the change in formatting for video, and then just making sure that you're engaging with your geo listings. Not many major changes, other than just making sure that what we're delivering at the end of the day is engaging as well.
So when you say, we want to engage now with our geo list, do you mean like, do we create a page for that, or is it a hashtag, or what do you need to do that? So if you go there, let's say you don't see it, would you see it come up as a hashtag? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So let me show you what it actually looks like. So again, you log in, you click on the little search, and what you will see is it's under places. So you search, and then you go to places, and let me show you one for a practice. So I don't know. So you can see here, I know it's a little blurry, but there you go. So do you see that little pin?
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
Places, so that pin was a place that was created for that practice. So this is not the practice's official Instagram account. And you can see here all the pet owners who've been taking pictures of things and tagging the place. So what you want, you can't really claim ownership of that. It's just there. But what you do is you create an official Instagram account as the business, and then you go back and you comment on some of these pictures that pet owners are sharing, and you say, oh my gosh, thank you for sharing this picture, it's adorable. But you want to comment back as the business by having a business presence, and then just keep an eye out on that geo listing or that place.
That's great advice. Thank you. One of the things that I've found with all these social media platforms, and mainly with Instagram and Facebook, is when they bring something new out, it's really a good idea to try it, because that's where you often get really good reach, especially in the early days. So as soon as they bring something new out, give it a go. What we generally do is wait and see how's it working, and then the reach decreases drastically. So if you try something really in the early days, if you're brave enough, guys, you can get that reach and get a whole lot more exposure than if you tried it later on.
Yeah, and that's because they're rewarding you for using something that they want to see if it works. It's like, do you remember when Facebook Live started years ago? The early adopters of Facebook Live and even video were always rewarded with reach early in the day. So you're right. It's don't be shy to try it. Just do it, see what happens, and measure that engagement there.
Yeah.
Advice, maybe.
Awesome. Guys, if you've got any questions, please post them in the comments and I will ask them right at the end. So we move on to Facebook. So Facebook's a big one. Like I feel like a lot of our audience is on Facebook. So if I even look at us, as the vet rehabbers, that is like our main platform. That's where most people are on. Obviously, the younger people are coming through on all the other platforms, but it's still a really big platform.
Yeah, it is. I always tell practices if we're going to focus on a social media strategy, we need to build that strategy around Facebook and then branch out from Facebook. So build that content strategy for what we know Facebook likes. So pictures, videos, engaging content where you ask questions and get people to comment back and share stories that people do things with. So build your content for Facebook and then syndicated across other networks, but Facebook is kind of that hub that we want to follow. And it's very simple. And I kind of said this earlier, Facebook's at over 2 billion users globally. It is still where people are at. It's true that kids are using other social media platforms, but they still very much do have a presence on Facebook. Our clientele, the people who are spending money, are also on Facebook. And so it's important to make sure that we still prioritize Facebook as an opportunity, and make sure that we continue to post there and we do what we can. But interestingly enough, Megan, and some people know this, some people don't, is that since COVID, there have been kind of two shifts in what's occurred on Facebook. One is that the utilization of Facebook is up dramatically since the COVID pandemic has started. And I think it's for a lot of reasons that many of us know. And that is, what else are we doing if we're not out there and we're engaging with our friends face to face? We're keeping in touch on Facebook and we're reading content and we're posting things. So utilization is up, which is awesome. But what's really interesting is that organic reach is down, right? So meaning that the number of people that we're reaching is down despite those numbers being up. And so a lot of people don't realize that the reason that's happening is because there are more people posting more content. So us battling for attention has become a little bit more difficult when it comes to Facebook.
Yeah, it's really interesting, because I remember last time we chatted, you said, when you look at your posts, how do you know if your posts are actually getting the attention of the people you want? And I remember you mentioned, if you look at your reach, and if your reach is like 25 to 30% of your following, or they're called followers now, then that was good. Is that still the case? Because I sort of feel like sometimes the algorithm changes all the time, and to be honest, like, it's so hard to work out, are you actually posting something that people actually are enjoying? Because sometimes they're not engaging and you're getting the reach. Other times they're engaging. So what do you go on? Do you go on reach? Do you go on engagement? Do you think, like, the algorithm is so unstable, it's always up and down? So when you post something, you think, oh, I got such bad reach on that post, maybe they didn't like it. But is that actually the case?
Yeah, so I don't focus on engagement as much, and here's why. Engagement's critical. Without engagement, you won't have reach. So the reason I don't focus on engagement as much, and for those that don't know what engagement is defined by, is, are we getting likes or any reaction really? Are we getting comments? Are we getting shares? Are we getting clicks? Any one of those things are considered engagement. And the reason I don't pay so much attention to engagement as much, it's something I do pay attention to, is I pay attention to the reach, because reach is indicative of engagement. So if you reach a large volume of people, then that means you have engagement. Now, where I do pay attention to engagement is if a certain post got more engagement than another. And so I look at that and I say, well, if that did really well, but this didn't, what was it that maybe it didn't work? Was it the time of day that I posted? Did I post on a Sunday where a lot of people aren't really going to be engaging on social media? Or did I post something that just wasn't engaging? And then I look at the post that did get a high engagement. Was it the topic? Was it the day? Was it the question I asked? And so I do look at engagement to determine from the success, to then help you build more content around that. To hopefully try to keep engagement up. But it's always hard, especially with Facebook, because you're right, algorithms are always changing. You could follow something that successful, and it might not work in that moment that you shared it, because exterior factors. You might have created an awesome post, but then there might have been something big that happened in the world and everyone's talking about that. Maybe there was a death of celebrity, or maybe something's happening with COVID, or maybe there's something political going on. And so if there's a lot of conversation around that, then people are more engaging with that. And so you kind of fall by the wayside. And so that's why Facebook's really difficult. To answer your question in terms of, is that, 25, originally it was 40%, up to 40%. Is that still realistic? It may be not close to 40% as much anymore. Maybe it is closer to the 25%. We are still seeing practices that are actually still close to 40%, but it's not the commonplace anymore, if you will. I don't mean that that's going to be like that forever. I just think it's right now during this COVID time with utilization and content going up. But I suspect, and it's just a suspicion, that as things start to go back to normal, as we start to see each other again, as we start to go back out there like we once did, I do suspect that maybe that might revert back to where it was. We simply don't know, but it's definitely interesting to see it continue to evolve for sure.
So it's not Facebook trying to get us to pay and boost our posts.
I mean, they're always trying to do that, right? And certainly that's one way that we can bypass it. But no, not necessarily. I think a lot of times we assume that it's always pay to play. Of course, some of this has to do with Facebook wanting to do a little pay to play, but not necessarily. It's just that there's just so much that they're having to filter through. But it's interesting though. You just mentioned pay to play. There is a pretty big update there. So a lot of people might have heard Apple with their latest iOS 14.5 update. So their latest iPhone update has implemented some pretty interesting privacy settings that allows us as users more control over who gets to see some of our patterns that we engage with on certain apps. And so basically what they're doing is, if there's an app that is tracking you, meaning that they're tracking what you engage with, they're tracking how you respond to certain ads, they're installing cookies on your phone. So I'll give you an example of tracking. When you go online and you look at a pair of shoes or something that you're interested in, and then you go on Facebook and you see an ad for that same product, that ad tracking, they have actually added a setting now that will notify you and say, hey, we just want to let you know this app is tracking your behavior. And do you want to continue to allow that? And so if I wanted to continue to allow that, because maybe I found there's some value in that, then I could. But I could also say no and say, I don't want people to know. I don't want any advertiser to know. So what does this do to Facebook and really other social media giants? They're fighting back against it, because if you think about the targeting that they have built into these social media ad centers, a lot of that has to do with obtaining that data on who you are. And so Facebook's pushing back, because if they can't obtain data about who you are and what you do, then it makes it very difficult for them to be able to help their small businesses or their corporations deliver highly targeted ads to you. And so what that means is that the ad targeting isn't going to be as accurate. Therefore, Facebook and other social media giants are then worried that you're going to spend less money on those ads because you're not going to see the same success. So it's something that we know will affect the animal health sector as well. So I might not be able to deliver highly targeted ads to people like I once have. So it is something that we've known was coming and just started being released now. What the fallout will be, we're just going to have to continue to keep an eye on it. And maybe when we talk in another few months or a year, we'll know more about that. But it is certainly something that might hurt some advertisers.
Yeah, thanks for that. That is something. I mean, and it's something, it's all the privacy stuff, it's, and my husband and I have this conversation all the time because like he doesn't look online for anything about pregnancy. And for the listeners out there, a lot of you guys know that I'm 6 months pregnant now, but he has on his phone on Instagram, he always has these sponsored ads for like maternity clothes and baby things. And so he says to me, like, I've never searched for anything. So that's not even that cookie. So, I mean, he's convinced that the phone is listening, you know? So Instagram and Facebook is somehow got the voice tracking and, you know, targeting him now for pregnancy stuff because they can hear us talking about it. So yeah, I mean, there are lots of crazy things. I've got a few questions. Michael Yeo just wanted to tell you he loves your beige Macintosh bling on the bookshelf, Eric. Might have taken mine out of the box. It's been packed since the early 90s before I went to the USA for studies. I love for the Macintosh.
I gotta tell you, that's one of my, I'm so glad you noticed it. That's one of my favorite, you know, I bought it on eBay years ago, and it is like one of my favorite pieces in my office. And if you actually, it works, by the way. So if I plug it in, I mean, I haven't plugged it in like 3 years. If you plug it in, it works, and there's a disc in there, and there are actual games that work as well. Yeah, it's so crazy. But if you open it up, it has all the original signature, not you know, like it's engraved signatures. And oh, that's awesome that you noticed that. It's like one of my favorite things in my office. That and my model planes.
Cool. Yeah, I see those. Very, very, yeah, amazing that you even were looking in the back there. I've just been focusing on Eric, but I see there are you've got lots of cool things in the background there. Alexa asks, can you shed some more light on targeting on Facebook? If a business gets a ton of engagement from a paid ad, how can we ensure it's being seen by the right people? Potential clients versus just random people who like and comment a lot. I work with a business and we had a post get tons of engagement, likes and shares, and we were excited as we got new people following our page that they were all people that weren't our ideal clients.
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that question because a lot of people will normally look at that and actually look at it and say, oh, this is successful, this is great, we're going to generate a lot of business. But what's great about the question is that person is saying, well, is this even good? You know, yeah, we got a lot of likes, but are these local people? So a few things on this. One, that actually ties beautifully to what we just talked about. You know, you can still target people. So to answer the question is you want to make sure that your ad is targeting the right audience. So when you, for example, on Facebook, when you boost a post or when you create an ad, you want to make sure that you are targeting people that live around you. So you can set the radius of where you want the ad to disperse to. So you want to make sure it's local. A lot of people never set that setting, in which case the ad might show up in your entire country or your entire province or state or wherever you're at. And so we certainly don't want that. So you want to target it to a certain kilometer radius around your practice, or if you're in the US, a certain mile radius around your practice or business. The other thing is, you can target people who are interested in pets. So you can target people that are interested in dogs, people that are interested in cats. The only issue with targeting people who are interested in dogs or cats doesn't necessarily mean they have a dog or a cat. It just, there's something from another app or something from within Facebook or Instagram that has given Facebook or that social media channel the reason to believe that because you've engaged with a lot of dog postings that you might actually have a dog. So that's the best we can do, is target it to people that are interested in. And then also targeting people who only follow your page. So having an ad that only targets the people who follow your page, who are more likely to be people to support your business, or maybe to have done business with you, or maybe have had an interest in your business. Those are the best things that we can do to try to make sure that we're doing what we can to have an ad target the right audience. But it's not perfect by any means. And now with this change, that targeting might not be nearly as accurate as it once was. And so it's really important to make sure that you have your refined targeting in place, and that you have that criteria set up. And that, again, just like Megan and I talked about earlier, has that equated to business. So since I had that ad, what is business like over the next 30 to 45 days? Have we seen an uptick? Are we seeing more referrals from people that come from the internet or social media, to be able to determine that? But if we're not targeting and we're just creating ads and it's free for all, then it's probably not going to be successful for you. That's a great question.
Yeah, thanks, Alexa. So one of the things you mentioned you want to chat about was Google mobile updates. Is that different to the Apple stuff?
Yeah, so this is different than the Apple stuff. So for a long time, Google has really prioritized making sure that you have a website that's mobile friendly. And basically, years ago, they said if you have a website that's not mobile friendly, we're going to phase you out from mobile search, which simply means if someone is searching from a mobile device on Google for a business in their area, that if your website wasn't mobile friendly, you probably wouldn't show up. Now they've announced their second version of that update. And now it's not just that your website's mobile friendly, but that it also meets the mobile requirements to provide the best mobile friendly experience possible. So what I want everyone to do is, if you have a website, and hopefully you do, go to google.com/mobile friendly, or you can just Google mobile friendly. And even if you know your website is mobile friendly, I still want you to put your website address in there. And if there are recommendations that Google provides you in terms of how to provide a better mobile experience, it's important that you reach out to the company that manages your website and you have them go ahead and fix any issues that might exist in your mobile website, because it is a huge ranking factor moving forward to make sure that it's not just mobile friendly, but it's the best experience possible on mobile. So it's just Google making sure that they're providing the best experience for anyone who's searching on a mobile device.
Yeah, that's good to know. Thank you. Guys, if there are any questions, please, you can comment on there in the comments and I can ask them. Thanks for Alexa for that great question. Eric, while we're waiting for some questions, won't you tell people if they want to follow you, where they can find you on social media? I've put the URL of your website up there, ericgarciafl.com. And I think that's your sort of Eric Garcia FL's your tag for everything, right?
Yeah, that's right. So you can find me anywhere at Eric Garcia FL on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or you can go to ericgarciafl.com and then link up to any social media there. And I always encourage, any of your followers, if they have any questions after this, I mean it when I say it, just reach out to me, ask me the question. It might take me a little while to respond to you, but I will get back to you with an answer. And Megan, I just have to tell you, and I may have told you this before, I don't know, but last time we did one of these, I had a few of your loyal rehabbers reach out to me. Some were actually here in the US that follow you, and really appreciated that session that we did last time. So it was just really nice to be able to see that feedback as well.
Yeah, awesome. And we've got vet rehabbers from I think 52 different countries.
I love it.
So yeah, people looking from everywhere. So yeah, and last time, I can't remember when I last saw you. We did the Facebook Live after we lectured, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so Eric, we are so fortunate. Eric was here in South Africa lecturing to us. And I had to do 1 or 2 lectures with him. It was very nerve-wracking standing up lecturing after him. But yeah, hoping that you're coming soon to do some more business and social media and digital strategy type lectures in South Africa. Have you got any plans?
Not yet. There have been some discussions, of course, but with COVID and everything, we're just keeping an eye on it. I am very confident I will be back, and it would be an honor to share a stage with you again. I think I remember your sessions on websites, and you showed that the great examples of what we want to aim for when it comes to branding, and it made a big impact on me as well. So I hope that you and I will have that opportunity to do it again, which would be awesome. So hopefully looking forward to that.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Eric. I see that there's no more questions. I'm sure that there will be questions. Remembering we've got people from all different time zones. So some people are just getting up in the morning now. But yeah, it's been awesome chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time. We really, really appreciate it. And thanks for all those people coming on live. If you're listening to the recording, please, you can pop a question in the comments, and I'll do my best to get Eric to answer them.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much, Megan, and thank all of you for joining and listening in. Truly means a lot.
Awesome. Cheers, guys. Have an awesome day. Bye.